Okay, welcome to my first attempt at an inking tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how I ink with pens. So I'm going to be using this first panel of the upcoming Mr. BUTTERCHIPS comic to show you kind of how I do it. So what I mainly ink with are these. These are the Sakura Micron pens. I use the 08. It is the thickest tip. Here they have a number 10 now, so I might have to look into that too, because I think that may give even a thicker contour line, which would be even more similar to a brush. So I use that, and then for the small details, the finer details, I use a Faber-Castell, the Superfine pen, so it has a much smaller tip, as you can see. And it's just very good for the smaller details like eyes and wrinkles, things of that nature. So the reason that I like the Micron pens are because they can mimic the strokes of a brush. You can get a lot more variance with these pens than you can with any other technical pen that I've found. So the way that you do that is you have to break them in a little bit. And the way I do that is just using a sketchbook. And doing some basic drawings in there, some character designs, or just some fun sketches. And it all comes down to the pressure that you're putting on the nib. So again, with the Micron, it has a bit more of a flexible nib that you can apply some pressure to, and will give you some really cool line variances. So I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about while I ink this. So it's just a basic panel of Mr. BUTTERCHIPS walking around. It doesn't really matter where you start in a panel. I just kind of start on the left and tend to work my way around to try and avoid smudging the ink, which I do often anyway, so I suppose it doesn't matter. Another thing is, don't be afraid to turn the page, because if you're just trying to ink like this the entire time, it's going to be very difficult to try and get all of the lines the way you want them and follow the composition lines that you lay down with pencils. I tend to pencil very tightly. I don't know how well you can see it because I use a non-photo blue pencil, but I pencil very tightly, so when I go back over with ink, I can do it with a lot more confidence than I could if it was a much rougher penciled page. And I know some people can do that very well and very successfully. I'm not one of them. So again, I do it very tightly. So once I go to my inks, I'm not afraid to start laying them down. So again, we'll go ahead and start from let's just say with the arm. So again, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. It comes down to the amount of pressure that you're applying. So you start by applying a lot of pressure, and then as you bring it up, as you release the pressure, you can go from a thin to thick line. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. You can just go press down, you get some pressure, and then as you pull up, see it goes a little bit thinner there. And it's really just about releasing that pressure there. And so then you go from a thick to a thin line, and it almost mimics that of a brush. It's not exact, it's not a one-to-one, but it gives you a lot more variance than you would if you were using any other kind of technical pen. So then I just kind of keep going up around the arm. And again, you can start by just applying a little bit of pressure and then easing up, which gives you that line. Again, turn the page a little bit more. Apply pressure and then ease up. And so when you're doing the outside lines, I kind of like to make that a little bit more uniform. It just gives it a little bit bolder of an outline, as you can see here. It just brings the figures off of the page a little bit and gives you that bolder contour to make the characters pop. So I'll kind of show you here what I'm doing.